So let's go ahead and bring in the strawberry as a collider into the DOP sim. So I'm just going to close, if I close that, it will clean that up for us. And I'm going to head out here. Maybe, yeah, we could just quickly rescale the size of this because obviously it's way too big right now. I'm just going to just quickly bring it in a bit. Let's say, I don't know, if we go to show all objects so I can see, I'm just going to drop this down to 2.5. 2.5, say something like that. That'll do for the moment. And yeah, let's build up a collider, right? So I'm going to drop another geo. We've got our strawberries here. I'm going to bring them into here just to clear. It's not necessary, but just so it's a bit more organized. So I'm going to call this collider. Jump inside. And I'm going to use an object merge. I don't think we've used one yet, but these are quite common. So in itself, we don't have anything going on. If I hide other objects, you can see there's nothing, no points, no primitives, there's nothing inside here. So this is just a way of fetching information. It's like grabbing another network and then continuing it here. So you can do that within the SOP itself. So if I come here, you can see there's the end of this network. And if I, sometimes, you know, the networks can get very busy and you don't want to have lines kind of crossing over, can get a bit annoying and just a bit messy. So either for organization, you can use an object merge like this, and then you go in here, find your out. That's why we have caps lock, because it's at the start, and then it just continues again. We got exactly the same thing here, right? Another handy thing that you can do is you can just literally click and drag and drop that in. It's quite an easy way to do it. You can also, if you copy and paste, you can do that, right? Control C, Control V. Different ways of grabbing them. Now, since I've got this path, I can just actually Control X to take that from there. Go back into my collider, Control V, and then I've got the same thing. Great. Transform, we don't have any transform here, right? So that's when you need to change this into this object. In this case, it doesn't matter. But if you have transform on object level, you need to do this, right? We'll leave it like that. So the same as before, we need to use the collision source to generate our what we need, the VDB and the polygons. Well, in fact, the polygons will be the same. It's just for the VDB. We could just use a VDB from polygons. It would probably, I think it would be the same, but we'll use this just for clarity. So just like before, two nulls, one here, one there. Okay, call this again like before, pol VDB, VDB. And let's take a look at the VDB. So you can see there, because this is a bit smaller, if you remember the strawberries, we took them down to 0.5 or 0.05, the size. So let's bring the voxel scale down to 0.1. Let's see what that gets us. Still really coarse, but you know, we'll come back to this later. And here, as this is a simulation, we've already got a velocity, right? So we don't need to generate velocity here. Right, the polygons come through the same, basically. Got our VDB there. Maybe I'll drop it just a little bit. Let's do 0.05. Okay, that's fine. So now back into the solver, and we need to drop a collision. Oh, sorry, a static object. Okay, make some space, drop a merge, connect that up, and again swap around, so make sure that this is affecting this, and let's connect up what we've got. So our, let's see, the subpath will be the polygon surface. So let's see, collider pol will go there. Object path will be this collider, so there. And in collisions, volume, let's take a look what we'll use for this. I'm going to use volume sample. If you remember, that will use the volume that we generated earlier as a, not a proxy really, but it will use that to generate the VDB within DOP as well. I think within DOP it generates a Houdini volume, and a VDB is a bit more, just works better. It's faster, I think, right? So let's take a look at what we've got now. If we come to collision guide, we can already see something. So a bit crude at the moment, just a general shape. That's fine for the moment. We'll leave it as it is. Now, let's see what we get if I press play. So, a couple of problems I was seeing already. So the narrow band is not working, right? So that's because we've got, it's not considering this as a, a solid fluid. So if we come into the flip solver, then we can see that narrow band, turn on narrow band, simple as that. And also the fluid passed through the ground outside of the bounds. So come into the flip object, and we got closed boundaries. So just turn that on, and all the boundaries will be will stop the particles from passing. So now let's press play again. Okay, seems to be working. One more thing I forgot. We need to allow the strawberries to move. We do have, where is it? Deforming geometry. Let's try it one more time. So I just paused the video there for a second just to let the cache play out. Obviously it's really, the resolution there is way too high, or the particle separation is too high. We need to drop that down to get a higher resolution. It kind of sounds like a contradiction in terms, but to get more points basically. Obviously it's way too high now, but just for proof of concept, we can see we got moving geometry colliders, and they will be displacing, moving the particles when they contact them. There you go. You see them being moved around.